Alright, so we're going to do things a little differently than what we did the last couple of times. I moved everything inside the shed. Still not as clean as I would like it to be in here, but it's manageable now. And also I don't have anybody to hold my camera, so it makes it easier for the tripod to stand in here than it does out in the driveway. So last time we were here, we put all this together. As you can tell, I still never did go in and flip that fan around. There was a couple of other things that I didn't get done. So we're going to try to wrap up all of that now and just kind of finish what we started. Last time it was getting late and just getting tired, and we just called it a day. And so now we're gonna finish up that thing here. So since I don't have anybody to hold the camera for me, give me a minute to get all this laid down and spent around, and then I will move the camera in and try to give you a better angle of what we're doing in here, so you can see that a little better. Alright, so I think that's a pretty good view here. We'll try to lift it up a little bit as I do things, or perhaps move the camera in again. As you can see here, the dust filter has definitely been doing its job. It's got plenty of dust on it. We're going to clean some of that off. This thing has been running basically non-stop since I finished it up. So there's probably a couple of things that we can do to it. Just to kind of clean some of the dust off and get her back to being pretty, as well as flipping these things around so that they actually spin in the direction that we intended them to start with. Yeah. Get that old dust off of there. And we'll do more later. And by later, I probably mean never, because so there's 2 screws here to get these fans out. They're on that little tray. I will switch to my screwdriver here. See this from behind me over there. Try to stand out of the way as best as I can here. It's difficult to get in, but since I have it out far enough, I'm not going to take it all the way out. I'm just going to flip this bottom fan over. Screw up there so I don't lose it. I'm going to have to unplug it if I can help it. Proper way of doing things, I probably should have unplugged it. Things are facing. Once it's turned on and everything is spinning, just want the air to go there. I'm not going to be placed in a place where I have to actually look at it all the time. I just want the air to flow in the correct and proper direction. If you are using one of these, put these in, do be careful how much you put them in, because you don't want to break this plastic that's here. So I'm holding this together, a piece of plastic. Piece in there. fast, but you do have to be careful. Because it also makes it super easy to mess things up. So now we've got all those things facing in the right direction. And that out, maybe my wires come with it a little bit. Push those back in. Was I wanted to have another look at this motherboard here to see if, because I kind of just briefly looked it over, I wanted to see if I could find the header for this USB 3.1 Gen whatever 2, 3, whatever we're up to now. I don't know. I wish they would stop changing the name of things so much, but you know what. Here, so I'm going to make this a little bit longer so I don't have to come at it at an angle. So in here, push down the little arm down there. I don't know if you can see it or not. That angle specifically, but there's an arm there that holds this in. Probably need to take this and get some air on it to blow the dust free from there. Alright, let's have a look at these. These are all sealed. And here that was the problem with me sticking that up there. I think I didn't lose those. I'm not really seeing another port. I know I was in a hurry, so I thought maybe I might have overlooked it, but looking at it again, I'm still not seeing it. So it's possible that I did not overlook it. It's just not here, which is also fine. Let me take out my capture card down here and see if there's anything under there, because I don't, it's kind of dark under there, I can't really tell. So it doesn't look like I missed anything there either. So yeah. So okay, there's more system fan plugins down there. There's JRGB over yonder. Looks good. Let's see. There's 2. Alright, well, it didn't take a lot of effort to get that all out of there, so it was worth it to look and see. But I suppose this board just does not have that. The more I look at it, the more I'm convinced that I did not overlook it. It just doesn't exist. So, we're going to move on to the other questions that I had from several people after uploading my video. It said, when did you hook up the RGB? Why didn't you use the RGB? Where's the RGB? A whole bunch of stuff about RGB, and the fact is that I just did not do that. So, look at this. Let's see. There's LED strip 2, you get your fans. 4. I do believe that I may have overlooked some things on this. Look at this. doesn't really appear to be an adjustable. I threw all of my extra parts for this thing into the motherboard box so that I wouldn't lose any of them. And I do believe that I was wrong about this thing specifically. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so and there are no other wires in there, so that's cool. So in the last video, I mistakenly said that this was where you would hook up the controller pad here to the RGB header on your motherboard to make it addressable. I was wrong about that. That's not what that is. That is a different plug for power. So I had the option of either using this and plugging it in through a Molex connector, which I just so happen to have, or I could have plugged it into that and ran to a different power input on this thing. So that was my fault. That was wrong. And that is not actually an addressable RGB thing. So all of the RGB is handled just by this board here. So everything that I plugged into it will run off of that. Now the actual colors that I get whenever I turn this on all seem to match fairly well with each other. Thought the recording out here would give me less distractions, but it didn't. Anyhow, this does not actually address back to RGB. It uses exactly what it has, and that's it. So we're pretty much done on this side of things as well. Again, I was wrong about that, and it does not actually connect back to the other side. Also, while I was away, I went ahead and pulled out the manual for the motherboard, and I double checked to make sure that I was not still just being blind and not seeing it, and it does not actually have any USB 3.2 Gen 2, 3, whatever we're up to these days, I don't know, ports. And this wide port and this port here is 3.2 Gen 1, which is still fine, but as far as the more different connector, which I just put the side on, you can see that. But as far as the more different connector goes, we don't have a slot on here for that, which is what I thought anyways, so it's not a big loss to me, because I was already expecting to discover that. I was just making doubly sure that I didn't overlook it when I was in a hurry last time. So I'm going to start putting these things back in here, and then move on to some other project out here. I'm hoping that that was able to answer the questions. Anybody who had questions last time about how to plug in the addressable thing on those cheap full moon fans from Wish, if anybody had gotten them and was wondering how I got them to match the other colors in my system, it was purely by luck. I was going to blow air into this to clean this out, wasn't I? The profile just so happened to match accidentally without me having to do anything else. And now I cannot find my, here it is. This thing here is ultra handy for blowing dirt out of things. Love this thing. Good stuff. Go ahead and take a quick stab at blowing all the dust out of there as well. And then we'll just add these things back in here like they came out and plug everything back in and move on to the next thing. In there. Make sure that these clips are on correctly. This part here has to go into this here, or else this thing does not stay in very well at all. In fact, I would probably go so far as to say it definitely won't stay intact, but can't make promises because, you know, weirder things have happened. But if you don't put that under there and it does come out, also don't be surprised. There we go. That's back in. I need to put this thing back on. I mean, I guess I don't need to, but I want to, so I will. Alrighty. So I've got my fans turned, and that was it. Didn't really manage to accomplish anything else here, but at least now I will know that my air is actually flowing in the correct and proper direction. So that will be fun. Exciting for that. And so anybody who was wondering about that from the last time, well, now we got that done, and hopefully I was able to answer any questions that were left over from the last time that we worked on this this machine. And yeah, there we go. Alright, so before we end this, let's make it clear that this MSI MPG X570 Gaming Edge Wi-Fi motherboard does actually have USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports on it on the back here. Has Type C there, has regular ones there. Altogether there are 4X USB 3.2 Gen 2, and there are 6X USB 3.2 Gen 1 plus 6 USB 2.0 places on here. So what does all that mean? That means that back here you have some 3.2 Gen 2 plugs, but on the board itself there's not a plug-in there to plug in that more different connector that they use for that. I'm not saying that the board is missing features, I'm just saying it's missing features. Alright guys, so I got this case in from Amazon. Actually, no. This one from Amazon or anyway? I think this one was from Amazon. Anyways. I think I ordered most things from Amazon. Only ordered a couple of things from Newegg, so I probably got it from Amazon. But, anyways, somewhere in the shipping of this item, it was damaged. The box was damaged. Either at the warehouse or in shipping. I don't think it was in shipping because this box actually came in a larger box that was fine. So it did happen in shipping. That was some very Houdini type messing up of boxes. But whenever I open this thing up here, we'll find that for the most part there wasn't a lot of damage to the case. So the glass side panel was intact. There's a little, the plastic cover was a little scratched, but it doesn't appear to have gone down to where the glass is. So the tempered glass appears to be fine on this case. Most of the pieces are there. The front where you look at it, all of this looks good. The only thing that I could find that was really wrong with this case was that whenever it was damaged, whatever it was that was pushed through that box was pushed into the bottom of this case, which dented this, made the legs sit crooked, and pushed a little bit of stuff out of alignment over here. So I was wondering if maybe I could possibly bend all this back straight. Our dust filter is a little worse for wear. It's seen its better days, that's for sure. But I think we can still salvage this. Maybe it's not ideal, but it's possible to salvage this, and we're gonna give it a shot. For anybody asking, I've already talked with the place where I bought this from. I believe it was Amazon now that I think about it. And they've already arranged for replacement. Well, not a replacement, a refund, because the damage to this one. And so we'll be getting a different case because this one is out of stock, so they can't do a direct replacement of it. And tell if that is on the glass or if it's only the piece of plastic. This may be scratched as well. Let's find out. No, it was on the other plastic. Alright, so yeah, glass looks good. Doesn't look like it was scratched or anything like that. Nothing. It might be okay, I think. Over here. Let's see. It has a fan in it. That's cool. I haven't actually opened this thing and took it apart yet. The only thing I've done so far was take it out of the box and see that it was, in fact, dented up. There's a button on there for the LED. Is there an LED on here? Maybe. Strong, maybe. That was the rest of that, so we can move it later. And I have to take the sides off of here and trying to get down into the inner workings of this machine here. See if we can't realign that, at least somewhat. Less worried about that getting dinged up than I have the glass, but I still don't want it to be dinged up. So, first test is kind of just push it back down. Actually, this is pretty flimsy. Not giving me a whole lot of resistance when I do that. Actually, that almost went down perfectly. But I wanted to use tools. So, I will use tools. I want to stick this and see about lining this part here up with the back edge and see if I can smash this flat as I possibly can. Back to the case. Probably don't even miss that if I can, try to smash those pieces back flat. Here, I don't know if I can reach that with this one. That part is not flat either. No, that's not what these things were designed for, but it works. Hey, it works. That's actually pretty flat there itself. So, not the worst that I've seen. Let's put this bad boy up and see. Definitely not 100%, but it does feel a lot more sturdy than it was feeling. Yeah. I think you could set this on your desk and not be worried about if it was going to fall over or not. I do think it could be a little better here. Maybe be able to push that. And this leg is still a little bit damaged. You can see the piece here, the foam cushion that it sits on is damaged, and you can see part of this is still messed up there. But overall, very, very acceptable. I think that would sit just fine as is. While not exactly as I would hope, it is acceptable and usable. Now, so let's see what's in this case. Here is behind the power supply shroud. There is a place here where you could put a hard drive bay that is not included. Cool. It's like DLC for your case. Your audio, your USB, USB 3. I'm pretty sure that this Molex connector goes to the, well, yeah, it says LED on it. So yeah, Molex connector goes to the LED, power reset switch, some grommets and such for installing the SSDs, because the SSDs go in here. We put 3 of those on, snaps it into place, and then the last one is a screw there. So, if you look closely, it's inconvenient that I don't have anybody to walk in closer and look at this. But, if you look at this, you'll see that these slide in here, here, and there, and then you pop it into place. Once into place, this one is just a solid hole, and you put a screw there and hold the SSD into place. So, not super bad there. Pretty cool. A lot of basic, very basic builds probably won't have a 3.5-inch hard drive in it anyways. Put this together for general office use, throw in an SSD, or maybe not even an actual 2.5-inch SSD, you're just using a little NVMe plugged into the board. You won't even need the SSD slots. And this would make a nice little case for an office computer too. So there you go. Not only would it be fairly small, functional, but it would also give you some nice aesthetics with the glass. That's cool. As far as this, however, this is actually stretched in some little places where it's bent. I highly doubt this is ever going to look like it once looked again. We may be able to still use it, but not to its fullest potential, that's for sure. Let's flip this end up and try to slide this back into place. If I slide some of that to this one instead. You can definitely tell that these places are warped because they're not wanting to go back underneath the spots that they hold it in. It does go back on there. There's some gaps in it. It's going to have little gaps around the edges just because of the way that this thing was warped and stretched. There's not a lot we can do about that, but I think once we put an actual power supply in here, it pushes down right there and pull it up tight against here. That may even out a little better as well. Or I may be able to slide this in there and force it to even out a little better right now. Squeezing it together. Yeah, this thing has definitely seen its better days, but I don't know. I would call that usable. So there we go. Just to be clear, this is not a manufacturing defect on the count of thermal take on their Versa cases or anything of that nature. This was, as you can clearly see, a very damaged box here. So, not knocking the design of the case in any way or the process in which it was put together, just knocking the process in which it was delivered to me in. Or necessarily the condition that it was delivered to me in, not necessarily the process. Our UPS guys are actually very good. Chat with them often when they make deliveries while I'm home. Obviously I don't chat with them when they make deliveries when I'm not home, but this is probably not going to snap back together now. Come on. There we go. Alright. It snaps back together. It's still a little bit wobbly. This does not come down 100%. Part of it may be the little pad that's there. Part of it's going to be just because this is going to have a bend and a crease in this thing that I can never get out with the tools that I currently have available to me. But again, very much so acceptable for any purposes, even if not perfect for what it was intended to be. Alright, so these things, I don't know if it's because of the case being jacked up warehouse or if it's something else, but these almost don't look like they're very well lined up case, so it may that may cause a problem when putting it back together. I'm not going to fight that for a really long time now. Just put it back together. This is going back in the box. So all of the other parts that I ordered to go with this are not in, so I can't actually start putting this together anyways. Alright, thanks guys for looking at that with us. Alright, so a couple of things that are coming up soon. Got a couple of motherboards in. Still waiting on the processors to come in for those. I have a Radeon RX 570 that's going to go into a build. We have the Fractal Design Focus G Mini came in. I'm going to be putting together some things in there. Still waiting on a couple of Ryzen 3400Gs? 3200Gs? 3400Gs, I think, to go into these two boards. Be putting together a couple of office systems with those. 570, and I'm missing 3700X, some SSDs and other things to go together into a server. Some other stuff that I have ordered coming in that we're going to be putting together. Transplanting a few things from some other cases into different cases. A couple of other projects that I got going on. So if you like what I'm doing here, or anything like that, just stay tuned for what might be coming in soon. We'll be working on that as it comes in, and getting back with you guys and keeping you updated on that as that happens. Otherwise, I think that's all that I had for today. I thought there were more things out here waiting for me, but apparently not. I am expecting a few more things to come in today. Some other things are coming in tomorrow, I think. Maybe Sunday. One of those days, we'll see. If it does come in on Sunday, I won't be able to get to that this week for sure. So we'll see. Anyways, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button. If you dislike what you see, go ahead and hit the dislike button. Which way is this flipped? One way or the other. Like or dislike. Subscribe. If you want to get notified whenever something else posts, hit that button. Alrighty then. Catch you guys next time.